Business of Property podcast. I'm Simon, and I've been investing in property for over 20 years. And if you're an active landlord or planning your next property investment, this podcast is for you. Somehow, the summer holidays and possibly the summer weather, looking at today, are over already. We're at the start of September, and this is, of course, your monthly property market review. Back in episode 298, Simon Glastonbury and I concluded there were a lot of good foundations in place for the autumn property market. And we were feeling quietly optimistic for the next few months. But since then, we've had at least a couple of rumours of government changes to tax that would perhaps adjust what you might expect from the property market. And unfortunately, I think rumours like this that aren't sort of squashed, so might actually be true, can be quite damaging, perhaps even more so than just knowing the actual change, if there is going to be any. So I'm concerned that our foundations may have been sort of shaken a bit before the wall panels have even arrived on site. Of course, it could also encourage some action to get in before any changes. So maybe there might be some slight silver lining available to this, but overall, I think I am a bit more concerned than I was just a couple of episodes ago. Of course, it's too early to know how September will actually unfold, but we can certainly have a look back at what's happened during August. As expected, new listings have been lower over summer. That's not to say they stopped, though, with an average of just over 29,000 new listings each week in August, which is a couple of thousand down from the end of July. Moving on to new listing prices. As a whole, they have dropped a bit in August, making them a bit more realistic probably, and I think forming part of the foundations for more market action, if that's the path the world takes us down. Although, having said that, there was a very slight increase in the average listing prices just in the last week of August. Despite that, the 3-bed average fell by nearly £2,500, or 0.7% between July and August. Looking on an annual basis, that's still leaving average asking prices up by over £1,000 though, which is about 0.4% up from August 2024. Onto the number of removed listings assumed to be sold. There was a little flurry in August, which has got to be a positive sign. The level of listings seeing a price reduction, I think, is another positive sign. It had quite a sharp drop during August to just 18% of all listings. That's from 21% in July. And where this year had been running a bit higher than 2024, August fell enough to match the 2024 rate. The number of price reductions normally goes up a little in September to capture people's attention as they return to the market, presumably. It will be interesting to see whether that goes back to a higher than 2024 level or manages to stay a bit lower again with slightly less reductions and perhaps just tracking the kind of rates we were seeing back in 2024. The average listing time for sold properties continued to rise during August, which is completely normal while the market is a bit slower over summer, of course. We're now running at an average of 70 days to sell though, which is quite a bit higher than the 66 days at this point last year. I normally finish these reviews with a look at rental asking prices. Unlike sales asking prices, which can often be slightly detached from the price a property is actually sold at, rental asking prices are generally the price that will actually be agreed. So these are a very accurate look at how the rental market is actually doing. The difference in average between July and August for a 3-bed property is only £4. So I think it's fairly safe to say that the rental market was pretty flat over the summer. Smaller properties have seen very slightly bigger falls in price though, but none have been large. In percentage terms, they do look a bit more meaningful, but are still less than 1%. They do look more concerning when compared to last year though, which really didn't see any fall at all across most property sizes over summer. Last year rents did fall a bit after summer though. It'll be interesting to see if we get a deeper drop this year, as it's started a tiny bit earlier, or whether we might manage to have a similar level of drop, but just shifted a little bit in time. I still think there's a lot of potential in the market that could make for a good autumn. I'm not expecting a great surge, but hopefully we'll weather the headwinds okay. Please remember that all these market details are available for free at a national level every week via the email list that is linked in the show notes, or at a much more local level specific to the area that you're interested in, you're looking at, as part of a PATMA Deal Finder subscription. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you found it useful, and I look forward to speaking to you again next time.